Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone. Are you ready to live an inspired and empowered life? Welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show on W4WN.com and Talk4TV.com. We're live Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we are also heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, and Pandora podcasts. Today, we will be talking about reducing your relationship stress during the holidays, part 2. Continuing where we left off last week, are there some people you are just not looking forward to seeing? And do you want to know how to manage your relationship stress to live an inspired and empowered life? Well, during the show, you will learn 3 principles of how to boost your self-care during the holiday season so that you can be more centered and calmer, and learn how to deal with difficult people and discover the number one mistake that you can make that would keep you from having healthier relationships. So I want to welcome everyone in the chat room. Thank you for joining. Good morning, Allie, and we got Carol and Marie in the house. Thank you for joining. And remember, this is about together creating a life you love. I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, New York, actually licensed clinical social worker. And yes, I am from New York. You can probably tell by the accent. I'm a certified hypnotherapist and an intuitive breakthrough expert. And I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform and inspire and empower women to lead lives they love. So let's talk about stress. Now, we all have stress. In fact, whether you realize it or not, we actually need a certain amount of stress in order for us to be healthy, to feel functioning, to feel like we're not like that we're just bored. However, what happens for most of us in our world today is that the issues and the stress keep raising. And then during the holiday season, which is also known as a time for stress, the issues you may have even more stress than you want. So learning how to reduce the stress. Now, I'm going to be talking about relationships, but the things that I'll be talking about are for all year round, number one. And number two, these are ways for you to help you deal with stress, period, and stress around relationships. So last week, we talked about the number one, the first principle. And the first principle that I talked about was learning how to release the stress that certain relationships may be causing you. And the first thing is to ask yourself, what is it that you need to do to take care of yourself with this person? And that is a really important question for you to really understand and know what you need to do, especially if you know that you are going to see or have to deal with someone that you really don't want to, or that causes you or you feel stressed out about. And we talked about ways that relationships can trigger you. Why do you have issues in your relationships? So briefly, one is they are triggering old issues from your childhood, most likely. Yes, there are issues that get triggered from other lifetimes and also ancestral issues, but we're talking mostly about childhood issues that get triggered. And people, and certain people specifically, have a way of triggering and pushing those buttons. Now, each one of you can probably think of at least one person that really pushes your buttons. So, and when I talk about triggering, when I talk about pushing your buttons, another way to describe it is you have an emotional reaction. And a way that you know that it's coming from the past and not the present is if your emotional reaction is an intense emotional reaction. That means that it's actually triggering something from your past. So, for example, let's say Uncle Harry, you know you're going to see Uncle Harry, and Uncle Harry is he's actually a fairly new uncle because he is a second marriage to your Aunt Mary. Making up names, but giving you an example. So, but Uncle Harry has a way, he has a tone. There's something about him that just feels really like you don't like being around him. And you really don't want to see him, but he's part of the family now, and you really want to have fun with the rest of your family. So Uncle Harry definitely pushes your buttons. You feel irritated, angry. You don't want to be around him. What you need to really look at is, what is Uncle Harry triggering? Now, when you start looking at what is Uncle Harry triggering, you start realizing that Uncle Harry has a way of talking, of being demeaning. Perhaps your father, when you were growing up, he may not be see, our parents today, whether they're alive or in spirit, are not the same parents that we grew up with. They're just not, because people change. Now, some people change for the better. Some people may not change for the better. But your father may have been a little nasty, or maybe he had fits or rages, or maybe things really easily triggered him. And there's certain aspects of Uncle Harry that really trigger your father. Now, your father may not be alive right now. God bless him. He's in heaven. But you're still getting triggered by those old wounds from when you were growing up. And Uncle Harry knows exactly how to trigger those wounds. So, what you do to take care of yourself, have limited contact with Uncle Harry as much as possible. But the most important thing that you can do, which is the second principle that I am talking about today, which is the second principle is all about learning to clear. And it's clearing your energy. So it's clearing those trauma patterns, those issues that really keep you from being present with the rest of your family. Because if you're so triggered by Uncle Harry, it keeps you from really being present with the rest of your family. So the people that are on live, even if you have any questions coming up about anything that I have talked about so far, and if there's any other questions that come up or comments that you'd like to share, please type them in the chat. And so clearing your energy is really important. Before you have a function that you need to go to, you want to make sure that you're clearing your energy to help yourself process through the issues that are coming up as much as you can before you have to meet the people that you are getting triggered by. And you want to make sure that you're making that deeper connection with yourself. The deeper connection with yourself, which is those higher aspects of self. Now, I'm going to do my quick Psych 101 lesson because it's really important to understand all the dynamics. Now, your conscious mind is the one that chose to tune in today. So thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here, whether you're live or you're listening at a later time. And when you made the decision to listen to this show, this podcast, you did it with a conscious awareness. I want to learn more. I want to become more inspired. That was a conscious choice. And with conscious decisions and choice, that empowers you. It empowers you to be all that you are meant to be. And so making choices is really empowering and really important of being conscious and aware and living an inspired and empowered life. Now, what happens though, when you are going to those old reactions, when you get triggered by your Uncle Harry, whoever that is, or Aunt Lily, or whoever it is that really triggers you, or maybe it is a sibling, or Brother Lewis, or Sister Dahlia, any of those people, and I'm making up names for the purpose of trying to help you put names to the people that really trigger you. Know that those triggers, those reactions are coming from your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is the part of you from the moment you were conceived to present time. And it includes past lives and it includes ancestral trauma, ancestral patterns that keep replaying. And all of that is stored in your subconscious mind. So when you are getting triggered, when you start feeling really scared, angry, maybe you're feeling grief, maybe you're feeling not safe. Somebody's really triggering that button or pushing that button and you're starting to feel not safe. Even the thought of seeing them, and you don't understand, you love your family, but you don't know what's coming up. Then it's time to understand it more by understanding what's going on in your subconscious mind. So the second principle is clearing those old energies, clearing the energies where the triggers are happening, and then making the deeper connections. And when you do, and you clear the old, and you really connect with who you really are, which is your superconscious mind that I call the higher self, this wise, unconditionally loving part of you, and your soul, when you connect with those parts, you become stronger and clearer and feel more empowered. More empowered. So the second principle of self-care and the second principle of really, really being able to reduce your relationship stress during the holidays and every day during the year is working on clearing that old energy, the energy where the triggers, those patterns, understanding where what part of you is getting triggered. Going back to what I was talking about before, that Uncle Harry triggers you, or whoever it may be, Aunt Lily or a sibling, whoever it is. What is it that they're triggering? What is it? Asking yourself, what pattern? What is it that really annoys you about Uncle Harry? Is it the way he talks to you? Is he condescending? Who else was condescending when you were growing up? How did you get treated when you were growing up? Or is Uncle Harry a rager? And he goes into rages, and all of a sudden you're having a happy family meal and he gets triggered and then he starts blowing up. So he's not safe. Or maybe Uncle Harry is just, there's something about him and you don't even know what it is, but you don't want to be around him. He's just, there's something. It's really understanding that something. And I also talked about shadows last week. Shadow parts. And shadow parts are the parts of us that we don't want to see, that we don't want to own, or that maybe we are in denial about, or that are really hard to deal with. For example, maybe Uncle Harry is a rager. And maybe there is a part of you when you're driving, because this happens often when someone is driving. We turn into sometimes a different person. And you're driving along, and then someone cuts in front of you. And you start going into a rage. And you don't like it. And that's a part that when you see Uncle Harry rage, that's a shadow. Because you don't like that part of you that goes into a rage either. Or gets really angry. And so it's about working with the shadow and working and healing that part of you. And learning how to understand why that part came into existence. And I'm going to tell you, we have many parts of us. And each part of us is a protective part. It's a part that came in for a reason. And so your journey is to understand the reason and befriend that part, embrace the part. Because once you understand, so let me give you an example. So yes, there is a part of you that goes into, let's say, road rage, that shadow self. And then you look a little bit deeper and you say, what part of me goes into rage? What is it that happens for me? And you start looking at when you're driving in the car, you're in control because you're at the wheel and you have control over the brakes. And then all of a sudden someone cuts in front of you and you almost, let's say, have an accident, and that really scares you. So really underneath is the fear, but the first reaction may be the rage and you feel out of control. So one of those pieces is you feel out of control. And so instead of going into fear, you go into rage. Now, this is part of the stress reaction. The stress reaction has three parts that I usually talk about. It's the aggressive part, so that's the road rage. It could be the avoider, that's the fearful part that's hidden underneath. Maybe you just want to run away from that person who cut in front of you and avoid them and just get away, which actually could be a healthy thing because you don't want to engage somebody when you're in a rage. Because what happens, and this is something that I'm going to talk about more, is when you're angry, you want to disengage because you don't want to do something that you later regret. And I coach clients and couples and people that when you feel really angry and you know that you could be headed for a confrontation, that doesn't need to happen if you were able to be more in control. You take some deep breaths, you excuse yourself, and you take a time out. So you want to breathe through whatever just happened for you if you're in the car or if you're in a family dinner. I'm using the car as an example. And breathe. And if you need to excuse yourself until you calm yourself down, do whatever you need to do for that self-care, to take care of yourself in that instance. So I want to share with you some ways that will help you to de-stress yourself. Some ways to de-stress. So one of those is being able to help you to handle stress more easily, is being able to handle your emotions. Now, we're always talking about emotions. So it's learning and talking about emotional intelligence. Remember the last few shows, I was talking about emotional intelligence. You can find them on podcasts on the iHeart or Spotify or Pandora. But I was talking about emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is learning that self-regulation. It's learning how to deal with your emotions. And that's really important for you to learn how to de-stress. And so learning how to deal with your emotions, learning to understand what's getting triggered. Why are you getting triggered? What's Uncle Harry triggering? Now, it could be the shadow self or it could be that little child part. So it's really important for your self-discovery, your self-understanding. And I really want you to know that when you have more self-discovery, when you have more self-awareness, that is the key to not only changing your life, but changing your relationships. So the number one way that would keep you from having healthier relationships would be when you don't explore, you don't go deeper, you don't allow yourself to know what's being triggered so that you can heal it. Listen, you can't change other people, but you can change yourself, and you can also change how you react or respond. When you learn to respond, that's coming from your conscious mind. When you react to a situation, that reaction is coming from your subconscious mind. And so the key is really being able to learn how to handle your emotions, what's getting triggered, and how to help yourself clear and heal so that you can be more effective in your life and in your relationships. So learning how to deal with your emotions is really important. Yeah, breathe. Everybody take a breath. And also knowing that when you're at holiday functions, what I want you to remember is to come back to present time. Because if Uncle Harry or Aunt Lily or somebody else in the family has triggered you, what happens is you're not in present time. When you get triggered, you're reacting from a past part of you, not from your present. And so as you breathe, as you ground, learning to relax. Yeah. Breathing and relaxing, grounding, becoming present, really remembering to become present before you enter the family gathering, before you, or if you notice that you're starting to react, go to the bathroom, go to another room, take time out to breathe and recenter yourself, breathe and ground. Feel your breath. Feel your feet. So any of you in the chat, if you want to comment about what you do before you go to a holiday event, is there something that you do to support yourself before you enter the room or enter the house or the apartment? Would love to hear from you. Is there something that you would like to know more about? Would love to hear from you. Another way that you can reduce stress. Now, this that I am talking to you about came from helpline.org. So these are factors that they talk about on helpline.org. Is also a sense of control. To have that sense of control. Because when you feel out of control, your emotions will go haywire. You may go into overwhelm. You may become angry. You may feel stressed and fearful. So it's finding a way to help you feel more in control. Breathe. Breathing. Marie. What does Marie have to say? Set a time to be there and adhere to that. Control your situation. Yes. So that's a really important point, Marie. Thank you. So let's say the holiday gathering is from 4 to 8 p.m. And you need to look at yourself. What is your self-care? Now, again, self-care and sense of control, taking care of yourself is setting your boundaries. What are your boundaries in this situation? What feels doable to you? So let's say if it starts at 4 and 4:30, getting there 4:30 feels reasonable. It also depends when they plan on having a sit down. Is it a sit down dinner or is it a potluck? Knowing the situation so that you can prepare for it. The more prepared you are, the more you will be able to have that sense of control. And so let's say you decide to go at 4:30 and you say to yourself, you know what? 3 hours is max. By 7:30, I need to be out of there. So maybe you need to make that time limit for you. Now, if you're going with your partner or you're going with a friend, but you know that you need to have that ability to leave when you need to leave to take care of yourself, then you may need to have extra car too. Maybe both of you need to drive separately. This is about you discovering what is going to support you, what will work for you during the holiday gatherings, and really setting your boundaries for self-care. Really crucial to help yourself during these situations and during these holiday gatherings. Allie says, to expand on what Marie said, if you know that family tends to drink and being around drunk people is triggering, plan to leave before people get drunk. Allie, thank you for that. That is excellent. That is so true. So if you know that your family will tend to get totally inebriated and that really triggers you, then you know that you need to take care of yourself and leave before that happens, like Allie suggested. That is so, so, so true and so important. That is crucial self-care. And so that you having that sense of control. And also, if you know the seating chart, and there's certain people you don't want to sit near, you can talk to the person who's doing the seating chart, or if you're helping with the seating chart, make sure you're not sitting near the people that trigger you. So it's finding the ways that you can take your power back, that you can take that sense of control back. And looking at what do you need to do to feel more capable or more confident in handling the situation. So that's important. So thank you, Marie. Thank you, Allie, for that, because that's really important points. Excuse me. My voice starts to go. So another thing that's really important to have that to take your power back and to really help yourself to de-stress during the holidays is, what is your attitude and outlook? Now, some people love the holiday season and they love being around family. They're going to be able to get through the holidays perhaps more easily than someone who is, I'm dreading the holidays. I don't like the holidays. So, if you're one of the people that dreads the holiday season, what are things that what can help shift your attitude and your outlook about the holidays? What is it that you can think about that would really like bring you joy and bring you into a place of really like, okay, even if it's not going from dread to joy, because that may be too far. With the Abraham material, Esther and Jerry Hicks, Esther Hicks, talk about the next emotional state. So what is it that you can say to yourself that will get you from dread to perhaps toleration? You'll be able to tolerate, or perhaps you even can go to liking. So let's say, instead of saying, I am dreading the holiday season, it's too crazy, too hectic, too busy, and there's too many family. I don't know how to do this. Suppose you said, breathe. This holiday season, I am choosing. There's that word choice. We talked about that last week. I am choosing the self-care, so that I choose the places I really want to go to. I choose the times, like we were just talking about, that feel within reason to me. I'm at choice here. There are no have tos. And when you start making the choices, that will empower you and you will feel more in control, and your outlook can start to change. Really, really important choice. Going from the have tos to the choice. What are you choosing? How can you make this more your choice? Now, if there's a lot of people that you want to see or you don't know how you're going to get to, what I suggest is using your intuition, because I'm always all about intuition, and really sit with, how can you negotiate? Because you may need more alone time and you may need to take time for you. And if you have a house full of family, you may need to go take a walk in the woods. Or maybe you need to go for a drive, to get out, to give yourself alone time. Remember to breathe. Breathing, grounding. All of that is really crucial and really important. Breathing and grounding. Coming back to present. And ask your intuition, ask your higher self, this wise, unconditionally loving part of you, who is it for my highest good to see? Who is my heart saying is really important for me to connect with during this season? And who can I wait on? And really begin to really listen to your wants, your needs. This is the self-care that is so crucial for you. The self-care. And having that self-care will really make a difference to de-stress you so that you don't get so overwhelmed during the holiday season. Remember breathing and grounding, and I'm going to keep saying that throughout the show because we forget. Listen, I forget too, and I have to keep reminding, and I've been working on this for a very long time. So every time I go into that spin mode, when you're in your head and you're going zzz, you can hear my voice. I have clients that say, "Oh, I hear your voice. I hear your voice say, slow down, take a breath. Breathe, feel your breath, feel your feet on the floor." You can imagine hearing my voice, really allowing yourself to take a moment, to take moments, to take time out for you to ground, to center, to get to follow your heart. What's going to work for you? What's going to be the self-care? Now, the next one is having that sense of humor. Having that sense of humor, we need, like, we would not make it in this life very much, or it would be much harder if we didn't laugh. We need to laugh. I was talking about the word needs and have to. Well, let me tell you something. Laughing is a need. It is a need. We need to laugh. And the more that you can see things, like if you're in the dread mode, what can you do to bring more joy? What can you do to bring more fun, to bring lightness? Maybe this just came to me. I just get visuals sometimes. Maybe you need to walk in the holiday party. Those there's the little hats. Maybe you need to have the hat with the reindeers, or actually what I saw was antennas. Those, they have hats during Halloween or something with the antennas, the little silver gold or gold balls. What if you walked in the holiday gathering with a hat, or just put it on for yourself? Or maybe you want to be the reindeer. What's gonna lighten your mood? What's going to bring you joy? I laugh, like when I see cars. There are cars that have they put on different things on their car to make them. I think I've seen reindeer things, and I've actually seen winking things. Laugh. Find a way to laugh. Put on funny movies. Watch funny videos. I am going to support you to find the ways to laugh. Have fun. Have a good sense of humor. The only thing is, okay, this is really important. The only thing is that when you have your sense of humor, that you're not putting yourself down, depreciating yourself or someone else. Because people do that with sarcasm. Sarcasm is really anger acted out. So you want to find, now it doesn't mean to laugh at not to laugh at your foibles, like things that you may do or mistakes or things like that. That's okay. But if it's not about saying, "Oh, I'm such a stupid jerk, look what I did," that's not okay. So it's really important for you to laugh and laugh at yourself, laugh at your idiosyncrasies, your neuroses, and have fun with it, and not to depreciate yourself. So Marie says, what does Marie say? "I am so grateful for my sense of humor. It gets me through a lot." Yes, Marie, from knowing you, I love your sense of humor too. It's great. And sense of humor, finding that way to bring that laugh in. Have fun, finding the fun, bringing the fun into the holidays, bringing the joy back into your life. So I'll give you an assignment. My assignment for you is to find the fun. I want to see, and you can post it on YouTube or Facebook, or come back next TV show, and you tell me what you did for fun or what brought you joy or what made you laugh. That sense of humor. Okay, because you really need that sense of humor. I want to hear from you because we're going to have those of us who are in the United States are going to have Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all you Americans. And those of you who are not, I want you, the holidays will be coming and you'll have different holiday events, whether it'll be work or whether it be family or friends. And I want you over the course of the next week to let me know what made you laugh, what brought a sense of humor, what you could do to make yourself laugh. So I am looking forward to hearing from you about all of that. Sense of humor. And the other thing that really helps you with your ability to handle stress is the more information and the more prepared you are, the more that sense of control that I talked about you have, so that you can really go into a holiday situation and feel that you know what you're walking into more thoroughly. Maybe you need to ask who's going to be there. Who do you know? And maybe you need to do something for yourself. Again, the two things that I am going to support you in doing before you even enter a holiday event is you want to make sure that you're grounded and more centered within yourself. Now, you may need to clear energy, clearing that I've talked about clearing for the day and doing the deeper clearing. So, depending on what's getting triggered by somebody, you want to work on dealing with the triggers before you know you're going to see the person who triggers you. And I will tell you that when you do that, you are taking your power back and you don't even have to get triggered. So let's say Uncle Harry really triggers you. If you work on the pattern and that part of you that's really getting triggered. So the part of you that's really getting triggered is, let's say, the 7-year-old. And the 7-year-old has really got hurt from your father. There was something that he did that really hurt you. And Uncle Harry triggers that. And so what happens is you're regressing to the 7-year-old. So you need to work with that 7-year-old and help her or him to feel better so that you can then feel more empowered. And when you work with that 7-year-old and you give that little precious child that love and make that child feel more safe and secure, and you feel more empowered and you walk in and you know that you're going to be prepared to deal with or just to see, maybe even seeing Uncle Harry triggers you. So you walk in and you're feeling grounded, you're feeling centered, feeling prepared. You walk in and Uncle Harry says hello. He even may want to give you a hug. And you know what? You look at Uncle Harry differently. And he may not be the best person but you're able, maybe you don't want to give him a hug. You don't have to if you don't want to. But you can say hello. And you get to realize, you know what? I'm okay. I'm fine. He doesn't trigger me. I'm going to have a good time today. So that would be what you could do to be prepared, to prepare yourself for a holiday gathering. And so again, the first principle, again, is being able to really allow yourself to clear and really working on letting go. Second is clearing your energy and clearing and connecting. So the second principle is clearing and connecting. And when you do that and you are prepared to go into a holiday event, you have your boundaries, you know how long you're going to be there, you feel prepared and ready to enter that holiday event, it will help calm you down. It will help de-stress you. And the number one way that would keep you from having those healthy, loving relationships is not getting clear on what people are triggering for you. What are those subconscious triggers? And then learning to heal and clear them. Really important. Emotional intelligence is being able to handle your emotions and being able to regulate them. And so, again, I am wishing those of you in America happy Thanksgiving. I am wishing you all. Remember that next week we're going to go into part 3. There is so much more that I would love to share with you about how to reduce your stress and your stress around relationships during the holiday season, but also during the whole year through. So we're going to go and we're going to continue this next week for part 3. So join me on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on w4wn.com or talk4tv.com. You can find the podcasts on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, Pandora, and Apple. And I am wishing you, wherever you are, a very inspired, happy and inspired and empowered week and an inspired and empowered day. Have a great one, everybody. Goodbye for now.